entering the month of November, where all the top Big 12 teams are going to be playing against each other. Do you remember a time like this beforehand where all these top teams were playing against each other in such a heavily loaded schedule at the back end in the Big 12?
Not in the Big 12. I remember in the old Big 8 days, we had a couple of years where Oklahoma, Nebraska, Colorado, Oklahoma State would work itself in there as well. But not four teams, in the top 10 or top 12, and certainly not with the magnifying glass with the college football playoff that we now have. So the Big 12's been under the radar all season, but now it completely reverses, and now they're going to be in the spotlight for every Saturday in November.
When it comes to rankings and wins and losses, what your record says, OSU, of course, has lived life on the edge this season with the game last weekend, game against West Virginia, and also the game against Kansas State. Close games. Now, does that hurt them when it comes to getting up in the polls, when you have those close games against teams that maybe you weren't supposed to have such a close game to?
Oh, yeah. It's just sort of human nature to, if Baylor beats somebody 71-7 and you beat them 40-30, it just, in Baylor, in that mind, is going to be advanced. However, until they start giving you extra points in the standings for that, I'm going to rank victories the same. Some people said that Michigan State's win over Michigan shouldn't count for full credit. But let me tell you what the Michigan State fans did after the game. They all celebrated because they won the game, and that's what it's all about, is winning the game. If somebody wants to start talking about point spreads and say, hey, let's give credit for beauty and style, well, then just say so. But put it on the table and say so, and then you'll see people like Baylor beating teams 115-7 instead of 71-7.
Going off that game from Tech, what did you notice from an offensive standpoint?
Well, it's what's happened with OSU's offense is they've gone from J.W. Walsh as a situational quarterback, a short yardage. He's not a situational quarterback anymore. He's in a platoon. You young guys don't even know what we're talking about. But teams used to do this. Teams used to play two quarterbacks, and it wasn't a big deal. Now if somebody does it, it's a big deal, and it's a soap opera, and there's intrigue. But he's just in the rotation. It's almost like a baseball. It's almost like a baseball pitching staff where we're gonna put J.W. Walsh in, and he's going to do certain things, and then we're going to come back with Mason Rudolph, and it works great for OSU because it really hurts the preparation of a defense because these guys are so different. With Mason Rudolph, you're running mostly air raid, throw it down the field, the slants, the short crosses, go deep on occasion, and then all of a sudden, here comes J.W. Walsh, and he's running the shotgun option, the zone reads, and all those things. Plus, he can throw too. So your preparation time as a defense and a defensive coordinator is really, really crippled when you got to prepare for basically two offenses.
Now, moving ahead into this weekend's game against TCU, what kind of matchup can we expect from the game on Saturday?
Well, I think you're going to see a lot of points. TCU has a dynamic offense. Trevon Boykin's unbelievable. Josh Dotson, the wide receiver, might be the best offensive player in the conference. Everybody gets fired up about those Baylor guys, Kaufman and their receivers, but Dotson might be the best. So they can score. TCU will score. But TCU's defense has been injury prone, and on the road, it hasn't been good at all. They give up 45 points to Kansas State. They give up 52 to Tech. So on the road, TCU's defense has been very, very susceptible. I think the Cowboys will score a bunch. I think it's going to be a shootout, and we'll see who wins.
Now, I have to ask, with this being pretty much the final month of college football, what is your Big 12 prediction? How do you think it's all going to shake out?
I'm going to predict that nobody goes 3-0. I think we'll have two teams are going to. I think we're going to have two teams that win two of these three, and two teams that lose two of these three. Now, which two? I tend to think TCU might be the best overall team, and I tend to think the Sooners might be the one that go 2-1, but they lost to Texas, so they're not going to be in the title hunt. So I probably would give the edge to TCU right now. With that said, I want to watch the Baylor quarterback and see how he does. And I'll say this, if OSU beats TCU, watch out, because the Cowboys always take care of Baylor here in Stillwater. They played 3 times in the last 5 years. Baylor either had a Big 12 championship caliber team or a Heisman Trophy caliber quarterback, and got the doors blown off before halftime all 3 years. So OSU knows how to play Baylor. If OSU beats TCU, it could be a Big 12 title for the Cowboys.